Welcome to DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next. The Alumni podcast where you get to hear the inspiring stories and transformation that DVC has had to offer its alumni. And now, on with the episode.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah,
All right.
ready.
And we are live here on the DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next. And I have a new guest today.
Oh.
So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Kimberly Valles. I am DVC alumni. My first year here was 2009, and the last class I took here was in 2019. So I love DVC. I think they have some of the best teachers. And don't get me wrong, in that 10 years coming back and forth here, I went to other colleges. I actually have my degree from ASU in health science. But just across the board, I knew DVC was always there. Like I said, the best teachers. But yeah, how that kind of started.
Let's okay. Hold on, So let's back up. So did you grow up around?
Yes, I did. Okay. I'm actually born and raised Bay Area.
Okay.
My father's from Richmond. My mom's from Hayward, and I grew up in Antioch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So where'd you go to high school at?
I went to Deer Valley.
Okay.
Yeah. My sister and I both. My sister also came to DVC first.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of followed in her footsteps in that direction, but I'm happy I did because, like I said, this is great school. Yeah.
So when you first got here to DVC, what was it that because the thing is your story that you talk about, you kind of went back and forth. That's more often the story for DVC than a lot of people, because and also a lot of people go off to a 4-year university, and it's like, it'll be one of those things where, they a semester they leave because it's like they can't figure out what they're doing. And that's a wonderful thing. Yeah. So talk about that experience of going from high school to DVC to kind of find out what you were doing.
Yeah. Actually, straight out of high school, I didn't know what I quite wanted to do yet. And actually, it was really cool. Right when I graduated high school, I actually auditioned for the Golden State Warriors to be on the dance team. So I made that. And so that was like, I was in heaven. So I was like, okay, but I still have to go to school, because I knew I wanted to, of course, be educated and get my degree. But I was able to be at DVC full time. And I was just taking the, basic freshman year classes. And I was also working full time. And I also was on Warriors too. So that was like a part-time job, full-time job, with school being a full-time job. So I feel like that was a good foundation for probably like the first 3 years. Because I danced on the Warriors for 3 years, and DVC was just like my rock too. Like I knew I had my classes. I knew I was getting educated. And like I said, I love this school too.
So did you, let me take this off. By the way, I have a friend of mine she was on the junior Warriors dance team for a long time.
Junior jam.
Yeah, and I think she ended up working with the Warriors also. But so when you were doing that, did you get involved in any of the DVC Live? Or it sounds like you didn't have a lot of bandwidth.
I didn't have a lot of, I did not have a lot of time. It was totally from like, going to DVC early in the morning, knocking out my classes, either going to work or either going to practice or a game. But like I said, DVC just provided that foundation for me. And I knew like, okay, I could come. I knew I was safe because I had the education part of it too. And because I was off working and doing, running around kind of. But no, I didn't necessarily get involved in DVC, the life on campus. But I was doing a lot.
And that is the story a lot of times. So you go here to DVC. Where did you end up going after that?
So this is where, it gets a little tricky. I ended up going to Cal State East Bay. And I kind of mentioned to you, it was really hard to get classes. And we were on a quarter system, and it was just different. It was way far out there. So I went there for about 2 quarters, and then I came back to DVC, and I was like, I'm going to try something else, And then I actually left DVC, and I applied to UNLV, got into UNLV, did a year there, really liked it. I was actually, what was I switched majors quite a lot. Like my first actually major here at DVC was astronomy, and then it switched to kinesiology.
Okay.
And then when I was at Cal State East Bay, it was kinesiology, and then UNLV, it wasn't kin. I forgot what I was doing there. But again, I liked UNLV. But I wasn't going to get my degree from there. It didn't fit. So, I had a lot of schooling in my life, but again, I came back to DVC, and I needed a few more classes. I wanted to finish up physics. But I did all of the class. I actually, this is quite funny. I took so many classes at DVC that I had an associate's degree I didn't even know about. So
really?
Yeah. Okay. So I knew I had one in health science, and then I literally found out I had another one in public health, and I was like, that's what happens when you just educate and keep taking classes. Like I said, it wasn't like I was doing it for. Sometimes I just took classes, just take classes to educate myself throughout the year. And I knew, like I said, I knew DVC had great teachers and a great foundation to do that. So I just always kind of came back to here. Yeah.
So what was it? So let's compare for a moment. And we're going to get to the fun stuff, by the way.
Yeah,
there's a whole reason you're here.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, you're a DVC alum.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we can almost get that out of the way. We'll get a couple more public service announcements out of the way. So compare, because I know DVC has some world-class educators. What was your experience like? The instructors here, the professors here at DVC versus like Cal State East Base and UNLV?
They cared here. I remember my anatomy teacher, my physio teacher, they were involved in and they made sure we were involved. And I'd say that they knew that we needed that type of foundation to succeed in the future. When I say my anatomy class was the hardest class I've ever taken, but I thank Mrs. Dixon so much for how she, to this day, I feel like I can still speak on things with anatomy because of how, like, in my brain, she got things. So I would just say that, but also their experience too. I feel like I remember she told us that she was at universities and she's like, I know this is where I make the impact is here not everyone, but I feel at junior colleges, at least for me, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I wanted to do yet. I mentioned that. And that's when you do need that guidance and those teachers that really make a difference. And that kind of provide that future or that vision of the future that you can have.
And that's where you really can find that passion, that thing that grabs a hold of you. Because
exactly.
I mean, and a friend of mine once told me, because my youngest kid went off to Chapman and she traded, I think about her third or fourth time, she decided on a different major. And I was just like, oh man, pick one, kid. And my friend says, unless she's going to be a doctor or an engineer, it's working. Because the thing is, you find different stuff. Because you said one of your majors was astronomy, which is awesome. And then it's like kinesiology. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's working. So you went to Cal State East Bay, UNLV, came back here. You've got 146 credits. You got 13 different AA degrees, all that good stuff. So what did you do? You kind of kicked around. I'm sneaking up on it. It's like, I'm all excited. I want to talk about this.
Gosh, I even feel just in the past. Well, let me go back to kinesiology. I've always been athletic, into sports, being in shape, being healthy. Again, with the Warriors, just staying in shape. And ultimately, I got to a place where I wasn't as healthy anymore and I was kind of falling off, and I really locked in with my fitness and my nutrition. And when I say my whole life changed, and that was something that, in the sense of how I took care of myself and how I showed up for myself. And then once I started to do that, I knew, I need to do this professionally. So that's.
So did you have like a moment where you just kind of went, because I know when you got 15 jobs and you're going to school and you're doing this and it's like life becomes tough, and you got, what is it, the freshman 15.
Yeah.
And,
at the time too, I was actually working at a medical office, and it was a great job. It was a great position, but I was like, wasn't calling to me. So when I finally had that light switch moment, and I finally engulfed myself more in that fitness world and educated myself on how to coach and, how to help others, that's where I was like, okay. Because once I realized, once people really get their fitness down, their nutrition down, and that lifestyle, everything in life, not all the time, it starts aligning, because you have that discipline and you have that respect to keep showing up for yourself. And that, for me as a trainer and as a coach and in this profession, I knew it was like, that's the best feeling, if I can help someone achieve what I achieved for myself, just pulling myself out of a space I didn't want to be. So you're right. So even, like you said, you try all these different things when you're younger, and you kind of have to shoo away what's not for you. And I think finally at that moment, I was like, I'm even though, personal training, I think it's an amazing career. I think it can be frowned upon, because it's not frowned upon. How do I say? It's a career for younger people, like in their 20s, they're going through college. And that's actually not what I did. I bartended throughout my whole college career. But when I which,
by the way, that's really good for your physical fitness, right?
Right. But yeah, when I just got back to that, and I really dived into, and I'm 34 now, but I started fitness back when I was about 31. So I've been deep in it about 3 years. I dove head in and I started coaching in person. I started coaching online. And one thing that I realized also is I could be having a conversation with anyone at any place, any situation. And within the first 10 minutes, we're having a conversation of, or what we do is if they know I'm in nutrition or fitness, they will ask me, "Oh my God, I've been trying to get back in the gym. Oh, I've been trying to eat right. What do you do? What can you recommend?" And I'm like, ding, ding, ding. Everybody always needs help with this and needs guidance with it. So I think that's where and because I do have so much passion for it, and I know how rewarding it could be. I was like, okay, this is my calling. This is where I can really help. For now, I changed. This is the trajectory.
Yeah, you're only 34, so
yeah,
it's like,
exactly. We're in the beginning.
And it's like I tell people here all the time. It's like I'm on my 4th or 5th career, and I'll let you know what I'm going to be when I grow up.
I love that. Seriously, that's how life is so cool like that. We don't have to get stuck in one position, and that's actually one thing I really appreciate. My mom told me when I was growing up. I know you kind of mentioned when you said your daughter, she kind of switched around and you're like, pick something. Like, my dad.
Oh, I said that to myself.
Oh, yeah.
I was smart enough to just leave her alone.
Okay.
So.
And that's great. And, my dad was like, hey, what are you going to pick? What's your major today? But one thing my mom told me was like, you're a baby. You're 21. You don't know what you want to do yet. Experience life, have fun. She never pressured me to go to a 4-year college or jump in a career. So I was so thankful to just have the world as my oyster to do whatever I wanted to do and explore. And like I said, it's almost like finding what you want to do, but in that time, those experiences, learning also what you don't like and your boundaries of what we're not going to put in our life. That's the most important part too, I think, is learning and growing up. That's important.
I think that's an amazing thing, because that was one of the things that I know when she at one point, so she'd gone off to college, she graduated, she came back here, and she was working for Nike at the place in San Francisco, the factory. And so she was working her way up the Nike ladder, and she fell in love. And she says, what if I moved to Arizona? She was going to go chase a girl there. And it's like, I said, the worst thing that can happen is it doesn't work out. You can come back. Go chase. And she's doing something completely different now. But again, it's like one of those things of like, especially when you're young like that, it's like, go find out what the world has to offer. You
need those experiences.
Your mother sounds very wise. I'd love to talk to her at some point. Did she ever go to DVC?
She did not. She did not go to college, but that, my mom is, she's very special. But yeah, like I said, and I feel like a lot of my friends' mothers too were like always all on top of them. And what are you going to do with your life pick? And my mom was like, dance for the Warriors for another 5 years. Do whatever you like. She was just very freeform. So it was, lovely to have.
And we'll get back on track here in a minute. This is what this is like, by the way. It's just we're off in this
better, actually.
And one of the things I love about that is just like, go experience life. I mean, it's like, because the thing is it's better to look back and go, yes, I danced for the Warriors for X many years. It's like, and I had a great time. It was a wonderful experience. Here's a video of me. Yeah. I didn't dance for the Warriors, by the way. I want to be really clear. So you went along and you fell in love with this passion. So let's talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to get to like really the fun stuff here. It's like So a client comes to you. So one of the things, and I'm now, one of the things I like about being like nearly twice as old as you are is that I know what I will and will not do. And so I don't fool myself into, it's like, oh yeah, if I just, it's just like, I know that this is what I got to do. So you have somebody come to you that's maybe a little older, and it's like, they want to get back to the gym, all of that good stuff, and I forgot to do that, but when we get back to the gym, all that stuff. So what is it that how do you walk somebody through that, to kind of like get them back up on their wheels and stuff like that? Yeah,
I think that is just having a normal conversation, I think too. It depends. If I'm going in with a client, we're going to sit down and we're going to have a 15, 20 minute discussion, and I'm going to ask kind of all about your life experiences and your past with diet, nutrition, fitness, any injuries you might be having, any mental limitations that you know of yourself that tend to hold you back. And I know this sounds weird, but I ask them, what's your breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And what's your snacks? Like, I know it sounds very like but those tiny details matter, because it's those tiny decisions that you make day in and day out that make a difference for your future and that highest self that you're trying to reach. So when I'm with a client, I always try to, and it helps when I have a very good sense of energy, I feel like, for people, and I can sometimes pick up on things people don't say. I don't like rely on that, but in that first 15, 20 minutes, I could understand, I could tell if someone's really eager to get back in the gym and they might be lying, or they might be, too. And I'm like, okay, like let's say they haven't worked out in 3 years and they're like, I'm going to come 5 days a week and I'm going to cut my calories down. And I'm like, that's great. You have that enthusiasm. I promise you it's going to go whoof, and then we're going to plateau, and then we're going to flatline again.
Yeah.
So that's where you just kind of have to really, I think the biggest point is like really learning your client and hyper personalizing to that client, and helping them in just the ways that that you can help them. And like I said, it doesn't take much. It's just knowing the proper foods to put in your body. It does take time to grocery shop, but you need to make it also takes, I bet people scroll on their phone for 30 minutes at the end of the day. And it's like, you can replace certain things. And I also tell my clients too, I have them track their food just so they know our body's a machine. Like, we know how much fuel, calories, energy to put in your body to make it function. Like, it's actually quite crazy how we don't learn about nutrition more in younger years in school and education, because like I said, this is like our machine. This is our body. It's with us from the beginning. It's with us to the end. Like, how do we not know exactly how many calories we need in our body to function per day? So that's something I also tell my clients, like, let's track your food. Let's see where you sit. Let's see if you're eating 3,000 calories a day, or if you're way under and your body is now kind of in like survival fat saving mode. Because that happens to people. Like, I went on a diet, I didn't lose any weight. I'm like, okay, because your fat reserves are taken over. So it's just, everyone's so different. And I think that's the key, is trying to learn and hyper personalize to that client and just be the support that they need. I was going to say, I could go on and like go deep but just being that, painting a picture of if they set their goals for themselves, helping them remember what those goals are. And I also kind of tell them like that you can have that version of yourself. It's there. You just have to make those right decisions, those right choices, and keep showing up for yourself. And as a coach, that's where I try to go hand in hand for someone that, like I said, I do that for myself every day. So I try to do that with my clients as well.
So, I've been cycling for about 10 years, and I've learned a lot.
Yeah. Burn those calories.
I need to burn more calories, but that's a whole other thing. Well, one of the things that I've learned is that, motivation is that yay wears off really quick.
Really quick.
And so for me, it's all about developing that discipline of going out, no matter how much you're sitting there on the edge of the bed going, oh, this sucks. I hate this. Mm-hmm. So at least that's, for me, that's the version of that you have to get through is this, because motivation lasts for about 2 weeks, maybe. And then it becomes, and then you're doom scrolling on TikTok or something like that.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to somebody like to kind of like help kind of get a little bit over that hump and develop the habit?
Yeah. Like I said, the advice it's hard, like I said, because everyone has a different intrinsic motivation that sets them on fire, and it's different with everyone. So that has to be, I think that's at the mercy of the client. They have to figure that out, but also providing them the foundation to have those moments where you can also recognize when you're feeling when you're not feeling motivated, and then you also pull yourself out and you end up going to the gym. Like I said, I can't be there. I can't pull someone out of bed.
Yeah,
I can't. I wish I could. Like that's also why I
be like David Goggins, right? Go in there and start. You know who David Goggins is?
My gosh! Probably if I see a video or something.
Oh yeah. So David Goggins is like this total beast animal guy.
Yeah.
He went from being a 300-pound fat guy sitting on the thing to being a Navy SEAL in 6 months. And and he went from being just completely unmotivated to where he's the guy that he's yelling and doing all that stuff. And so somebody there's a great interview with some guy says, "Oh yeah, why don't you come hang out with me? We'll work out for a month." He goes, "Okay," and he shows up at 5 a.m. He's like, "No, we're going right now." Yeah, but it's sorry. But no, I love his stuff because it is that mindset of just no matter. He's got some great books too. But anyways,
and that's sometimes motivation, like I said, comes and goes, and sometimes my discipline sometimes isn't there either.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to listen to your body sometimes. So you have to, but that's the point. You have to know yourself well enough too. And I think constantly putting your body under stress, under controlled stress, like working out, like your muscles under stress, doing that also cognitively telling yourself that you are safe and you are growing, and like every workout is like one more rep is like closer to that highest version of yourself that you're trying to get. So like I said, I don't have across the board or like, advice, but I feel like people really should just need to show up for themselves. And also, this is hard too, but love themselves. And that's something that you can say, hey, love yourself. And then people, like, okay, let me just get up and go to the gym. But working on daily habits, if you have a couple of habits that aren't good, that's just an example. If let's say you drink on the weekends or drink during the week, and then you sleep in, and then you can't get up for your workouts. It's like, okay, it's like you have to make the decision. What's more important? Having fun on Saturday night, maybe sometimes with your friends, Friday night, Saturday night, or getting to bed early, getting that 8 hours sleep of recovery, and getting up in the morning feeling 100% and crushing a workout. That and that's just what person do you want to be, or how do you want to show up? And you just kind of have to give that. Hey, what do you want to
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
What version do you want to see in 10 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that's also another thing. It's kind of like, why should you have an IRA? It's like, or a 401k. It's like, well, if you invest in it today, you'll have a lot of money later on.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with working out. So,
Absolutely.
so we
make deposits.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. The other thing I know is don't go shopping on an empty stomach.
Yeah, exactly. Yep,
Because then you start buying everything. It's like, oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's now. So you're now working at a place called Omlet.
Omlet,
which
yes.
I had to look it up.
Yeah.
And because it was like I had to find the right one, because otherwise I got lots of things from Julia Child's recipe for an omelet to Jacques Pepin to, it's like. But tell us a little bit about Omlet, and then let's get to the fun part.
Yeah. So Omlet, we're in the observability space. So basically, it's so funny. I always ask people, like, do you know what observability is? And they kind of look at me. I'm like, that's okay. But basically, for like enterprise software businesses on the back end, we observe the metrics, logs, traces. We kind of can pinpoint where problems are happening. For example, let's say you're shopping on Amazon and you ever get that, oh, what happened? Like the dog pops up and it's like something went wrong because you click somewhere. We don't work for Amazon, but
just as an example.
Yeah, exactly. But we would go in on the back end and understand, like, okay, what just happened? We can log that, we can trace it, and then we could just kind of reduce the MTTR time just of the, losing revenue, and just seeing where we can help enhance performance on the back end of things like that.
Okay.
So yeah. So, but go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, I said no. So I, like I said before we started, it's like I used to work in Silicon Valley.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually know what that looks like.
Okay. Yes.
We had.
What did you do there, if you don't mind me asking?
I actually worked in sales.
Okay.
So I started off in marketing. My job was to get us from here in Silicon Valley to the biggest cop show there is on the planet.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
And that was the thing. And then I ended up selling into a space. But as part of that, I got to see, because it was a very small company when I started there. So I think we had 60 employees. And so now they've got 300 and something. They went public and all this other stuff.
Good for them.
But it was really
time
fun.
To be there too, when you were probably there.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I had a good time. But it's also, I always find it interesting to have had that experience. And now my experience with software as a user is my attitude towards it is very different, which I'm sure is the same for you. Now you have a little bit of an understanding of what,
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. And especially like now that we're getting to the space with AI too. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's because you said you were there like 2010 in this.
I was
Valley?
there. I started there in 2012.
Okay, so that was like the .com or the .
Well, that was right at the end of the bust from the housing market.
Yes. Okay. But I'm sorry. I was more thinking of like coming into the AI, like the .com era back in the day. I feel like now we're kind of going to be seeing that with this new AI push too. So I feel like Silicon Valley, it's so different. I just also went to have you ever heard of Plug and Play in Silicon Valley?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have actually, we're partners, or they invested into Omlet.
Oh, wow.
So we were just there, and there's just so much talk around AI, and I'm very passionate. I'm very hopeful for it. I feel like it's going to put us in a good direction. Just depends on other companies and other enterprises and where they go with it. But yeah, it's, to be involved in tech right now, like, because I also just, so that's, so my boss who I work for, I actually met him at the gym I was working at the time.
Okay.
And it was the craziest thing because he's a very charismatic guy, came right up to me and introduced himself, and I work in tech. And I'm like, I was with a client at the time. I was like, I'm training someone, I was like, I'll meet you later. But ended up meeting up with him. He was actually a trainer too back in the day, and it was in tech now, and just kind of approached me and was like, you had something about your energy, and I really liked it. And I think that was just me being in my role as a personal trainer and just like being able to, like, I was glowing, I'd say at that time, because I just knew I was doing something that I don't train in person anymore. I went out of that segue to build tech, but to build a technical app. But it was really cool to meet him in that environment, in that an organic way. And we ended up, I joke because I was like, you interviewed me for like 6 months because we were friends before and we meet up for coffee. And I was like, I'm like, are we, like, we're going to get a job? And he's like, oh yeah. Like, anyway, so I finally just actually beginning of this year, started with their team, started at with events and community, and yeah, just kind of grew from there. And like I said, it's really, really cool it just, like I said, it happened all organically. I didn't even think I'd end up in tech. Like I said, my first major was astronomy. I'm very like more of a hands-on, like, and trainer. Like, I'm more in the field. And so to kind of now come into the tech space where you do a little bit more like behind the scenes stuff is cool. It's really exciting.
Yeah. So I did do that stuff for a different company, but the money's much better than in personal training.
It's lovely. It's quite lovely. Yeah.
It's way better than personal training.
Sometimes I almost feel, I don't want to use the word guilty because I know I'm worthy. Yeah. I put the hustle and the time in, but sometimes I'm like, I used to like hustle for like 8-hour shifts of training or me bartending or doing whatever I do. And now it's just, but the work is way more aligned and it's way more clear, and the noise is reduced, like the extra, and you can, I'm very clear on what you're working on. And so that's where I'm so grateful now. So even though, yes, it's, the money is inflated in tech, if you're doing the right things, I feel like, and if it's aligned, like, you can make really good progress and create really great things.
Well, I don't. So one of the things in tech that some people get, they get kind of, you look at things like bartending and personal training and some of these really hands-on blue collar jobs.
Just call it, yeah.
Some of them they don't pay great, but they pay enough. And you can get some bartending jobs that pay a lot of money, but you still got to hustle, and it's still noisy, and there's still a lot of stuff flying around, right? The nice thing about like being in a tech environment as well, the speed of what you're doing is vastly accelerated. It's so channeled that it's a lot easier to focus on what you're doing. And so one of the things that I always think is important is that you don't lose. At least for me, I try my best not to, while I may sometimes feel like, oh my gosh, how did I get this? I never try to take it for granted or feel like I'm not worthy of it, because the thing is, obviously he saw something that he liked as far as the energy and stuff, which I get.
Yeah.
I mean, I met you once at the coffee thing, and I'm like going, all right, I want to interview you.
Yeah.
But you come into the room with a lot of confidence, which is rare. A lot of people come in and they're usually kind of sometimes, they don't hold themselves with the same amount of confidence.
It took me a while to get here.
Yeah. Well, yes, it's
but it's part of the journey.
Yeah, it is. It is. So,
and I honestly put that, and I relate that, and I give my thanks to fitness and nutrition, and like knowing that and building that confidence, and 100% I tie it to that. Like my confidence definitely changed within the last 3 years when that came heavy into my life. So, like I said, that's why I'm so passionate about it now. I'm like, okay, this was my calling. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So,
well, and you've really thrown yourself into your expertise on it, so which is a good thing. So you're working for Omlet, which is still a kind of a goofy name for a company. Yeah. It's awesome, And I got a pretty good idea now that you've explained it. I got an idea of what it is you guys do.
So Omlet's Open Metrics, Logs, Events, and Traces. So it's the acronym for those. So yeah. And then we keep it fun and goofy. Like, I'm sure you saw the website, like Omlet. Like we always say, it's like as easy to make as making an omelet. And I'm like, making an omelet's kind of hard, but anyways,
it's not that hard. Come on,
just to get the skills right, you have to like the perfect heat on the pan and everything. Right?
Well, you just got to practice. So let's kind of tie ourselves back in, and it sounds like you're having a great time with this. Yeah, I mean, you bet that's just for your. Do you like being in the Silicon Valley space or in the tech space?
Absolutely, but I really have to tie that back to my CEO, my partner, and co-founder of this new project, because he thinks so cosmically, and you can be in Silicon Valley and you're in a bubble, right?
Oh yeah.
And so he taught me how, like, hey, you're in this bubble. This is a really cool bubble, but you need to be able to zoom out and zoom back in and zoom out and be able to weave in and out of these timelines and around it. So he's a mentor. He's great. And he has made this experience what it has been, and has given me the freedom to create and grow in this space. So if that makes sense, which allowed me.
No, it does.
Yeah,
it does.
Which now has allowed me to create, this wonderful fitness app that I am very extremely passionate about. And
let's talk about the fitness app now.
Let's jump in.
I got lots of other things, because it sounds like he's an amazing mentor.
Very lucky.
So we should get him involved with some of the stuff we do.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'd love to meet him. But let's talk about your fitness app, because that was the thing. Because you were sitting there and you were coding
on it. Mm-hmm.
You were coding. The fitness girl who used to dance for the Warriors was sitting coding.
Yeah.
At the you hear that, folks? Girls can do it too.
You can do it all.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't limit yourself.
But you were sitting there coding at First Friday Coffee, or no, it wasn't even First Friday Coffee. It was
like a Tuesday or like a Wednesday, and I met James there.
And Jim went by there, and he's like, "Oh my God, you got," because he was like, you got to talk to her."
Yeah.
So
kind of tapped me on the shoulder, and I was like, "Hey, let's go." Yeah, he was awesome. Yeah, and that's why I also feel like those synchronicities with how life lines up is not that was meant to happen. And like I said, he wanted me to meet you. I only went there technically to meet you that day, but still had a great time at that that coffee event. But yeah, so go ahead.
So let me ask you a question, then we'll get back to that thing. So 4 years ago, because it's been 3.5 years that you've really found yourself, right? 4 years ago, how would you have felt about going to the First Friday Coffee?
I wouldn't have went. I wouldn't have had the confidence to even walk in there and talk to people just about what I'm doing and my personal brand. I probably would have made an excuse to skip it.
Okay.
Just being honest. I'm also kind of like a hermit, more of an isolated introvert. I can extrovert, come out of my shell when I want to, but if I can revert back in, especially, I will. That's my tendency. So being able to come out of my shell even this past 3 years and see myself kind of bloom has been really cool.
Yeah. Well, no, I get that. I mean, I'm very loud and rambunctious and all that stuff. But the thing is I would rather sit at home, read a book or listen to audio tapes or something like that.
Yeah, be in your zen.
So he tapped you on the shoulder because you're sitting there coding, and he's like, "What in the world is this?" He gets excited about stuff. I usually am just like, "No." It's like, he's kind of, that's the way Jim is. Jim and I have known each other a long time.
Okay.
But tell us about the app, and then we'll get to the process, because this is the thing that it's just like I'm finding amazing. So
yeah. So here I can actually show you. So it's called Train.
Okay.
With the AI, with the AI highlighted. And that name just came to me because I train. Whenever I say I'm working out, I say, okay, I'm going to go train. So it's always been just like a word I use. The cool thing about this though is we do have a lot of apps that have AI sprinkled on top of it. This is an app that is fully stacked, fully built AI. So our OIS agent that my co-founder has built this full app, just fully stacked AI.
So you started with AI and built everything on top of it, with it, as opposed to, like you said, usually we have an app. Oh, let's throw some AI on here on the corner.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I've seen so many apps and they're doing a really great job with that. But we are now doing something that has not been done before, in the sense of when that client onboards, it's going to be I'd say about a 10 to 15 minute onboard, because what we do is we have like super intelligently loaded our agent up front to have a full blown conversation with the user they're onboarding. They are going to ask, it's pretty an in-depth process, probably about 50 to 60 questions, but that's the questions I ask when I sit down with my client. And I get, some people might be like, oh, I don't want to do 50. That's okay. Then you know what? Maybe it's just not for you right now. If you ever want to come back and take 15 minutes instead of scrolling to answer some questions about your life to get the best program that you've ever had, let us know. So, but anyways, they are going to onboard, and then what that does, it's going to provide a super hyper personalized program, and because it asks questions even down to like, what do your days look like? Do you have children? Are you running around? Like, what times do you like to work out? It's going to memorize all of this and then convert your program to you. And not only is it going to just be like a normal fitness app that you can use, check in, log, do all of those things, it's also going to engage with you. And let's say, and also evolve with you. So nothing quite does that yet. Every app kind of just says, you want to work out 4 days? You want to work out 3 days? You want to work out 5 days? Are you beginning to, and people don't know. People don't know what they're doing. They don't have anyone. They're just also kind of going in blindly to the app and then just seeing what they think works best. It's like, no, this is basically an AI coach that is going to analyze all of your data and give you, especially based off your goals, what you should be doing in the gym. And not only give you all of your workouts, help you through it, also check in with you, also educate you as you go. So there will be nutritional guidance. So if you are trying to put on muscle, you're going to be knowing that we need, your protein needs to be up there.
Yeah.
And it's going to check in with you. Or here, did you have your breakfast? Did you pack your lunch? Just very engaging things that I do as an online coach that I just needed more manpower. So that's honestly where it came from. This, this. If something you build always comes from, you have a problem and you need to find a solution. So how do we build something that solves that? And a lot of what I see also in the fitness app world, a lot of people, and statistically, we see people sign on for the app. They get really excited. By day 30, I'm just going to let you guess. How many people do you think are still engaged using the app?
If I would say probably less than 5%.
Yes, you're right. 3 to 4%. Okay. 96%, they're left. They're gone. Yeah. Because, and what I believe is because there's no engagement. There's no involved. There's no one engaging, coming back to you and asking, hey, how's your workout? How are you feeling? A lot of people I know are single mothers or, single fathers, and of course their kids come first, or of course their dog, like they have life. So this app is meant to know that you have a crazy busy life or whatever you have going on, and it's going to strategically plan and evolve with you. And I want it to be like your best friend, your coach, your mentor in your pocket, and keep track too of your workouts. Because a lot of people too that are locked in with their training, as such as me. I don't use an app right now, but I would like to know what I was doing 8 weeks ago. So now I'm coming at the end of my programming. I'm going to deload and I'm going to jump into the next one. It's going to give you all that. Hey, you lifted from the start of this week to week 7. You increased by this many, or you increase your weight. So it's just very feedback, and it gives you a lot of that data too. And it celebrates your wins with you. And the more you engage, the better it knows you. And it's just, like I said, it's almost like, have you ever used ChatGPT or like Claude? Oh yeah. And have you gotten to that point where you have like a kind of, some people do, some people don't, but you have that kind of relationship with?
Oh yeah. So it gets trained. So I was going to ask you. So it's like as you go along through it, if it notices that, like for instance, you have a crazy busy week, you get a cold, whatever, and you're not as engaged, does it take that into account, or does it start asking questions?
Absolutely, absolutely. Really? It'll come in and it'll be like, or if you've said, hey, I have a cold this week, the app is going to say, you know what, you should probably, if you're
drink lots of fluids, drink. Yeah.
And honestly, if at the end of the colds, if you're feeling better, get in the gym. If you have the flu, take the week off. This is your deload and recovery week, and it will then know that you were sick that week. So that'll count as your off week, and it might change the programming in the future. It's going to be so evolving. And so and let's say a woman, goes to the gym and she's like, I only have 30 minutes. Today I was here a little late. I only have 30 to 40 minutes to work out, but your workout's technically an hour and a half. It's going to rearrange your programming where you're still not losing your goals or you're like where you're going. And it evolves with you. Because sometimes I see a lot of people that just go in the gym and they're not following a program, which is fine. If some people just go in there for mind, movement, body. But if you're in there, you should be following a program. You should be pushing yourself. There should be some goals you're trying to set. That's where I find the most feedback, and wins to celebrate. And that intrinsic motivation that like, oh, I can do this. Oh, I am tough. I am, I can show up for myself. So, yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Is this available?
So we are soft launching. We have our beta group 2026, with January 2026.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And we also hope to raise next year. Of course, we're going to get our users first, but really, really seeing how the users respond to it, and the beta versions take a while.
Like I said, I've worked in software. I know what that looks like. It was funny when we were here. We adopted our platform for the Alumni Association, which I got to get you to sign up for that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost any money.
Okay. Sign me up.
But the thing that it was as it was getting put together, it's like some folks were like, "Oh my God, is that going to be ready?" I said, "Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is." I've watched it. It's like every software version is like you're throwing the airplane off the cliff and you're building it all the way down. It'll be fine.
Just keep throwing spaghetti at the wall, and it's whatever sticks, but just keep throwing it and see what it's gonna develop.
And then you build it up to a certain point, and then you go, "Oh, this was a terrible backbone to build it on," and then you got to you got to tear it apart and do it again.
When I tell you, we literally, my co-founder just developed from 7 days in this past week, he developed a whole new way of processing this information, and having having the agent be the manifold in the front of the agent being extremely intelligent, because you have to think with price wise, it's expensive to use Claude and to use ChatGPT, and so we want to be able to watch costs. So being heavy loading that intelligence in the front end and then tailing off at the end. So a different agent that kind of can come in, recall the agent that holds that intelligence, come back and check in with it. But also this is the evolving agent that's your futuristic one that's keeping you engaged and involved. So that's the goal. And we all have a version of ourselves in our mind that we want to get to, that we want to reach. And like I said, I know that because I was in a place where I wasn't happy with myself, and now I am. So I want to, however that helps people, or with this app, it's going to get you to that future version of yourself. Just trust yourself, trust us, trust the process, and we'll get you there. And it might look different for everyone, but your highest version of yourself is waiting for you, and you're going to function and perform times 10 if you just show up for yourself. Yeah. And this is going to help. This is going to keep you engaged and keep you, like I said, you get that relationship, you're probably going to go I just PR'd if you focus on PRing, or, hey, I feel good. I'm now seeing muscle development in my shoulders and my glutes and my quads. The agent will know that and celebrate that with you. And
Well, I know for me, it's one of those things where I do measure on my rides, and so I'm very, I don't want phones ringing there. But I have certain hills that I use to measure what my because during the winter, or if I get a cold, or if I get busy, it's I'll back off on my writing. So then when it's time, okay, well, let's go see how I do it. So I'll go up this hill. Let's see how I do. Yeah. And depending on how it feels and all the other stuff, it's okay, well, that was good. And then I can go and attack the rest of the world. Yeah. And, but yeah, I get the structure of
you've been doing that for 10 years too, and you've shown up for yourself.
Well, but also that hill. Yeah. These are the hills that when I first started writing, it's I'd have to stop my bike a whole bunch of times on the hill. And now it's just okay, that's good. It's
That's awesome.
And again, it's I get that whole metric because you want to be able to see that progress and remember. Yeah. And I never try to forget how bad it was when I first started writing. Yeah. Because it was that, oh my God, it's dragging a whole can of, a whole box of wrenches up the hill with me. So, well, that's exciting. Yeah. So you guys are going to soft launch in January.
Yes. All right. We're working MVP. Our agent's good. It's just the app is not fully live yet. But yes, it will. It's coming.
So when it does come, would we be able to do an announcement or something like that?
Yeah, I would love that. One of our main goals too is I would love to get this into universities. I would love for a university to us contract with the university and pay for their students and have their students have free codes so they can use the app. That's how I'm thinking bigger. Yes, I want individuals to use it, but I would have loved to have that when I was younger. And I know I was a broke college student too. And I actually know a lot of, people they can't, $20 a month is a lot, but that $20 could not a lot for a university.
Well, at the same time, though, I'm thinking in terms of TikTok and the amount of money people spend on Starbucks, which
oh my gosh, right.
Starbucks is expensive, and a lot of it is all the flu drinks are really not that good for you. So
that's crazy too, and that's another thing. also with the app, I wanted to touch on is it's also going to educate you in that sense. Like, it's not going to be easy on you. It's a coach, so it's going to be tough. It's going to say, did you track your food today? Or are you doom scrolling for 5? Or, like, I know you're scrolling, track your food. Like, go in and track your food. You haven't tracked it yet. Like, it's going to keep you accountable. It's going to be connected with MyFitnessPal. It's going to be also connected with wearables. So if you wear the Oura Ring, if you have your Apple Watch, it can collect data and already kind of know how you're at, where you're feeling. But
wow, it's going to be tough, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Wow.
But I want it to, I feel like our subconscious mind can sometimes be our biggest, like we have things that we've programmed in there that we limit ourselves in believing. I almost want to find something that's like, how can we unhypnotize ourselves? Or like, how can we wake up our subconscious mind to have good positive feedback loop? And you can do that with, people do that in therapy and repetitive positive language and talk. And hopefully, this is what I say when we have AI, that we can either go a way where we manipulate or a way where we really enhance. And this is where I see this really enhancing people's lives. If you allow it, like if you engage and you tell it your journey, you tell it your story, and it's working, growing with you, like it'll help you grow. So that's the biggest thing too. I'm happy to have space in the AI world right now. Like I feel very lucky.
Well, and I remember I did one of my first podcasts I did with Dwayne Lame, and he's been in the AI space since before it was called AI. It was machine learning,
ML, yeah.
And I said, so is AI going to murder us all? Because that was the narrative a year and a half ago. And he goes, no, it's so far away from being able to do that it's just everyone's freaking out about it. But I love that you guys are using that as a tool to help kind of like move people in a direction that is going to be helpful and not just, hallucinate and create bad case law like some people have used it in court and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
there's good and bad with everything, but yeah.
Well, it's a tool. I mean, a hammer can be a wonderful thing or it can be a terrible thing.
Right. It's just how we use it.
Yeah. If all you've got is a hammer, then everything looks like a nail. But if you have a whole toolkit, which it sounds like AI is going to be doing that for you.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
So as we move forward, would love to meet your boss.
Yes.
And love to have a chit chat with him and
Absolutely.
see. And because he sounds like he's amazing, wonderful, and very high energy, probably higher energy than me. So
yeah, it's funny. I actually joke with him because I'm like, I'm the energy hire. I was like, I know you hired me for energy, but we have like I said, we have a really good synergy and also I think coming into the Silicon Valley world. And also I just went to that Plug and Play Summit I was telling you about. There was a big meeting of women in tech, and there's only 28% of women in tech. And we realize, I think people are starting to realize, like feminine energy, feminine power is amazing, especially if it's balanced appropriately with the masculine energy. So I think me and my boss too, we have that beautiful synergy, and it's like harmonious. And we kind of, I'm creating and coding too, but his degree is in computer science and psychology. I'm like, you knew what you were doing. You knew what you were doing.
So he's so good. Okay, so he's computer and psych.
Yeah, computer science and psych. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's pretty, like I said, he's a very cosmic person, and we both are. So it's just it's cool it's so great to work. But yeah, I would. Yeah, he would love this. He would definitely. And we're always at Gratitude too. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we meet there a couple times.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, no, it's just, I'd love to get together and just to chew the fat, as the saying goes, because it's just, we're in the process of building the Alumni Association, and I'm looking for just kind of that magic spark. And always, I think it's all about being inclusive, about being the cool kids in the cafeteria, and yet we invite everybody to come sit at our table, because that's really what it's about.
I agree.
This is an amazing product.
Thank
and
you.
as you move it forward, when it starts getting ready for launch, let us know, because I'd love to put the word out and get you guys involved in.
Absolutely.
So if somebody wants to reach out to you for personal training or more information, how can they get a hold of you?
I have a website. I have it's called kimvalliscoaching.com. I could write that down.
It'll be, we'll put it in the show notes. Yeah. So yes.
Kim Valles Coaching, that's going to take you actually right to the link to sign up for the app when it actually is like, so it puts you on the wait list. It gets you kind of excited. So yeah.
Okay.
I also have LinkedIn and Instagram that I'm pretty active on too. Not LinkedIn. Not my LinkedIn, but my Instagram I'm pretty active on.
Okay.
I want to connect with anyone that's interested in like I said, I could talk about fitness to anyone, and just help them in any way that can, further their journey.
Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I know.
Because, I don't want to get you infected or anything like that. No cooties. So thank you. And I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. Yeah, me too.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next, the podcast for the DVC Alumni Association. You can contact us at alumni@dvc.edu with any comments, and be sure to leave a like and subscribe to our podcast.